So then the Shaykh gave him a shovel, and he told him, over here there's an orchard, in the next township there's an orchard. I want you to go and clean this orchard, clean the water canals. I want you to fix the buckets. I want you to sharpen the prune. You want to get rid of him, in other words, but this, he saw the shovel, this is a way to get rid of him. So the student took the spade and went off to the orchard. Well, the owner of the orchard, he was not very happy with this interference in his personal affairs, and he gave him a hard, and then the student's begging the farmer, he says, please let me just do it, because I'm not coming to take anything from you, but my Shaykh told me to come and to do this, to clean and repair this orchard. And so the people, the local people, you know, they were very suspicious of him, they thought he was foolish, they even beat him and scolded him, but he continued. And they saw he never asked for anything, not even for food. And if he found a piece of dry bread, he ate it, and he lived like this for months. Well, it's also well known among the people of Tasawwuf that when an Abdal, which is one of the 40 of the awliya-kiram who serve under the direction of the Ghawth, when he dies, they look for the substitute. Well, it so happened that a certain Abdal died, and many names were put forward, but the Ghawth of the time, he said, can he ask, can I make a suggestion? And they said, well, go ahead, you certainly. And he said, there's a gardener in a certain orchard who has a most sincere person, who has a sincere desire for spiritual progress, and he wants very hard, and he's working very hard like this. And they all accepted his thing, and thereapon this man was lifted to this extremely high rank. And he gave the spade to the owner of the orchard. He asked him, deliver it to the Shaykh. Before he left him, they asked, who are you? He told them nothing. He begged the pardon and he went off. And this is what is meant by it, to have sincere faith and conviction is all that is needed. In other words, who and how the Shaykh is not the point, it's who and how you are. That's the main thing. That's the thing. So, of course, this is a story told to illustrate a particular point, which is clear, I'm sure, to all of you. So, but thinking of this thing and basing upon the rest of this upon the teachings of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah and Imam Ghazali, these are people I consulted. We recognize these people as awliya kiram and as the pious of the ulama and the purified of the shayukh and these people. But how do we? What is our relationship with these people? Whether we submit ourselves to awliya or we submit ourselves to ulama, in the end they take us to Allah, either one or the other, or shuhada, for that matter. Some people go for the shuhada to be the martyrs in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is our way in concerning with these people? How should we act in concerning with these people? Because we need to know. We need somebody to keep us going and keep us, on point, because it's easy to fall asleep. When you know what he says, alayhi-s-salaam says, the wolf eats the lone sheep. You're by yourself, you get eaten. So you need help. So, how do we approach these people? He says these people talk about different kinds of hearts. He says there's the healthy heart, the dead heart, and the sick heart. This is what they talk about. The healthy heart, he said, on the day of resurrection, those who come to Allah with a healthy heart will be saved. He says, on that day, when neither wealth nor sons will be of any use except those who bring to Allah a sound heart. Inna man ata Allah bi qalbin salim. These are the only people, how much money you got, how many kids you got, all of these things. Then they're going to not count, as we said before, only except this sound heart. So he did defining these people and defining the healthy heart. It says, it is a heart that has been cleansed from any passion that challenges what Allah commands. Allah says, do this, that's it. Samyana wa atana. Ati Allah wa ati Rasulu. I hear, I obey. I obey Allah and I obey His Rasul. This is the first thing in your heart. You could not argue with Allah. If you're trying to, like this, forget about it. Or disputing with whatever He forbids, like the man in the tree, like this. He says, it is free from any impulses which contradict the goodness that Allah has placed forward. And as a result of this, it is safeguarded against the worship of anything other than Allah. So there's no shirk on any level. And it seeks no judgment other than the judgment of His Messenger, alayhi-s-salaam. What he does, or she does, their services are only for Allah. willingly, lovingly, and with total reliance, relating all matters to Him, fear, hope, and sincere dedication. When it loves, its love is in the way of Allah. If it dislikes something, it dislikes something because Allah dislikes it. When it gives for Allah. When it withholds for Allah. And all of this, even all of this, will not suffice it for its salvation unless it's free from following or taking as its guide any other one than the Messenger and those who follow the Prophet ﷺ. That's the only one that they take for their guides, these people. A servant who has a healthy heart must dedicate this heart to the journey's end and must give any precedence to any other faith or words or deeds other than those of Allah and His Messenger, and those who are rightly guided, keeping the prophetic things. He says, O you who believe, do not put yourselves above Allah and His Messenger, but be conscious of Allah. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Be conscious of Allah, for Allah is hearing them. This is the adab of the mureed before the murad, the seeker before that which is sought. This is how you have to come to your Shaykh, in this way. This is how the sincere seeker must approach, like that. Then we talk about the dead heart. Who are the dead hearts? This is the opposite of the healthy heart. It does not know its Lord. It does not worship its Lord in a way that it clings to the lusts and desires. Even if these are going to make the displeasure and wrath of Allah, never mind, it doesn't matter. It worships other than Allah. Its loves, its hatreds, its giving, its withholding arises only from its own whims, which are the most important thing to it is that how do you feel? Well, I feel. You hear them often say, I feel. What? Feel what? Who are you? Its whims. These are the people of nafs al-amara, in other words. And this is what's important to them. And this is their guide, and this is their imam, and this is the ignorance, their whims, their lust. That's their imam, that's their murshid, that's their shaykh. That's their shaykh. And its impulses are what drives it. It is immersed in its concern with worldly objectives, and it's drunk on its own fancies and its love for hasty and fleeting pleasures. That's the dead heart. If it is called to Allah and to the final word from a distance, it does not even respond to that advice. And instead, it follows any scheming, cunning shaitan that you can find. Life angers and pleases it. Passion makes it deaf and blind. And he says, these men say, to associate and to keep company with the owner of such a heart is to tempt illness for yourself. Living with such a person is like taking poison. And befriending this kind of a person leads to utter destruction. Dead heart. Sick heart. This is a heart that has some life in it, as well as some illness. The life in it sustains it, but the illness of it takes it to the other way, and it goes this way and this way. It has love for Allah and faith in Him, sincerity towards Him, reliance upon Him, and what gives it life, but it also craves for lust, for pleasure. It destrives them, wants these things, full of self-admiration, which leads to its own destruction. And it listens to two calls. One calls to Allah and to His Prophet, the other calls on the other side to the fleeting pleasures of the world, and it goes like this all the time. And this is the sick heart. So these are the three kind of hearts that you bring, that you have in the thing. And then they go on to speak further, huwa alladhi anzala, when he's talking about Allah, huwa alladhi anzala sakinata fi qulubil mu'minina liyazdadu imanan ma imanihim walillahi junudu samawati wal ard wa kana Allahu aminan hakim. It is He, Allah, who sent down calmness and tranquility into the hearts of the believers, so that they may grow in their faith, with their present faith. And to Allah belongs all of the host of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is the all-wise and the all-knowing. So then we look, what are the signs of these things? How are the signs? What are the signs of a sick heart, for instance? The sick heart may be ill and seriously deteriorating while he or she remains oblivious of that. You may not even know that you're sick. You may even die without even realizing you're sick. The symptoms of the sickness and the signs of the death are the lack of awareness, so you do not even know what's going on. This is why we said that the consciousness, that the taqwa, and the development of the taqwa, and how it relates to the sincerity is of the utmost importance. Since the living heart experiences pain as a result of any ugliness that it encounters, and through it recognizes its ignorance of the truth to the degree that corresponds to the level of awareness, it is capable of recognizing the onset of decay and the increase in the severity of the remedy which will be needed to stop it, but it prefers to put up with the pain rather than to undergo the arduous trial of the cure. I'll live with the pain. How many times have you heard that said? So the signs of the heart sickness: turning away from wholesome foods, for instance, to harmful foods, from useful remedies to shameful sickness. The healthy heart prefers what is beneficial and healing to what is harmful and damaging, but the sick heart prefers the opposite. And the most beneficial substance I found from all of these people when they talk about it, the most beneficial sustenance for the heart is faith, and the best medicine is the Quran. The signs of a healthy heart: for the heart to be healthy, it should depart from this life and arrive to the next, and then settle there, as it were one of the people of that world, knowing that it has come to this life only as a passerby, as we spoke before. And whatever provisions it's need, it will be given to it, and it will be soon returning home. And as for the Prophet ﷺ, what he said to Abdullah ibn Umar: be in this world as if you were a stranger or a passerby. That's the way. The more diseased the heart is, the more it desires the dunya, and it dwells on it till it becomes one of it. The healthy heart always is bothering its owner. This is nafs al-lawama, or the conscience, what they call in English, until it returns to Allah and it reaches Allah says, Ya ayyuha nafsu mutmainna irji ila rabbika radiyatan mardiya fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. This is the healthy heart. This is where the healthy heart lives, in that state, and we all want to be in that state. When he talks about these things, he says, whoever is pleased with serving Allah, the sincere believers will be pleased to serve Him. And whoever finds pleasure in contemplating Allah, sincere believers will find pleasure in contemplating Him. The heart has one concern, and that is all of its actions, its inner thoughts, its utterances, and are obedient to Allah. It is more careful with its time than the meanest people are with their money, the cheapest people are with their money, so that he wants to spend it. They spend it wastefully, but he spend it usefully. When he enters into prayer, the worries and anxieties vanish, and you find comfort and bliss in adoring Allah, and it does not cease to mention Allah, nor tire of serving Allah, finds intimate company with no person who guides it, but the person who guides it to Allah and reminds the heart of it. And you know how it is. You go to a place, and people, when you get into this life, and you go and you listen to these people chattering, you say, what do you want to spend time with them for? They're nothing. Absolutely nothing. You get nothing out of them. You spend a whole evening and you're exhausted from they talk about nothing. This you get to know that situation. And then you talk about the causes of the sickness of the heart, and then the Messenger alayhi-s-salaam said about this that temptations are presented to the heart one by one by one by one. And any heart that accepts them will be left with the stains. But any heart that rejects them will have the mark of purity. This is the situation. The Prophet ﷺ put the hearts, when they're exposed into temptation, into two categories. First, the heart, when it's exposed to temptations, absorbs it like a sponge and soaks it up like that. Or, in the other kind, it becomes like a pot that gets overturned and broken. In the first heart, it confuses good with evil. To an extent, it does not know anymore what's good and what's wrong. What's sunnah, what's bid'ah, what's vice, what's versa, what's false, what's true. Falsity is true, true is false, sunnah is bid'ah, bid'ah is sunnah. Everything is confused in that person's heart. The heart of the second category, it means that the person sets up their own desires as his judge over and above that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas on the other hand, the pure heart is a heart in which the light of faith is bright, and from which the radiance shines. And when temptations are presented to pure hearts, the pure heart opposes it and rejects it, and so the light and illumination only increase. Nuran ala nur, yahdi Allahu li nurihi ma yasha.